Fabricando la disidencia es un documental póstumamente dedicado al actor sirio-palestino Mohamad Rafea, quien fue secuestrado, torturado y finalmente asesinado brutalmente el domingo 4 de noviembre de 2012 por grupos terroristas. Estos han sido soltados en el país desde que los Estados Unidos, el Reino Unido y sus aliados occidentales, junto a los estados del Golfo, pusieron en marcha una guerra encubierta contra Siria a principios de 2011, disfrazada en los medios de comunicación como una revolución. Las palabras de Rafea en este vídeo y el valor que muestra aquí es por lo que fue asesinado. Fabricando la disidencia es un documental que descifra implacablemente la guerra psicológica librada por los medios, el establishment político occidental y sus aliados con el fin de facilitar la agenda actual de los Estados Unidos, Europa e Israel para deshacerse del gobierno sirio. Muestra cómo los medios de comunicación han contribuido directamente al derramamiento de sangre en Siria. El documental desmonta las principales denuncias que estos actores presentan, a saber que el gobierno sirio sistemáticamente reprime las manifestaciones pacíficas y por lo tanto que ha perdido su legitimidad. Muestra cómo estas alegaciones son apoyadas con pruebas inexistentes, como los casos de Jula y Daraya acaban de demostrar nuevamente. Por lo tanto, no se trata de información, sino de propaganda en favor de los intereses de la política exterior de sus países. Fabricando la disidencia proporciona evidencias de informes falsos distribuidos o publicados por medios como CNN, BBC, Al Jazeera y otros, en base a entrevistas con una muestra bien definida de la población siria. Desde el actor al artesano, pasando por el periodista o el residente de Homs, todos afectados por la crisis.
Do you think there is a revolution here? No.
Had there been no media campaign against Syria, things would have probably ended in April.
Big problem for us, the media. You know, if the media speak the truth, we stop each problem here. If you speak the truth.
We are gathering in London today in Trafalgar Square and some 21 countries around the world, from Morocco to Nepal, showing our solidarity with peaceful protesters in the Middle East and North Africa. You know, we've got the names of some 300 people who have been killed in recent days since the Security Council veto.
Syria is a tragedy of the most painful sort. It's heartbreaking to watch those incredibly brave people of Homs, Bab al-Mar, to stand up to withstand such a brutal onslaught from their own government.
It is time for that regime to move on, and it is time to stop the killing of Syrian citizens by their own government.
There has been an intense military campaign by the government against protesters in the city, with dozens killed, shops and homes vandalized, and mass arrests made.
On Syria, we condemn the violence against peaceful protesters, peaceful protesters.
Killed, and 1,100 soldiers were killed. We're coming back to the same issue. First of all, because they refused. No. Because they refused to take orders to kill the people. My own cousin was killed. He's a strong supporter of the government. He's a strong supportor of the government. He was a lieutenant in the army, and he was killed. He was sent to our village. You know how he was sent to our village? You know how he was sent to our village? He was decapitated. He was decapitated.
My name is Ala Ibrahim. I am a reporter and a freelance journalist. I've been to Daraa during the last events that took place in Syria, since I've been to Daraa for the better part of April and May. I went to places like Ma'arat and Oman when a security checkpoint and a security headquarters was attacked there, and I went to Homs also to cover events there. There are many questions unanswered till this day about Daraa, which was the place that started the whole crisis in Syria. Up till today, the 4 people who were killed in the first protest in Daraa, I've interviewed protesters who were along with them, and I've interviewed security officers and policemen who were at the scene. Actually, stories don't always match each other, but something that all the people I have interviewed have agreed upon, that they don't know who shot at the protesters who were killed the first day. Protesters have told me that the shooting took place from a high place over a water tank in the city, and they couldn't identify the people who were shooting.
The government is not running against the civilians. These civilians are our own people. We are there to protect them.
But the government is killing them.
The government is running against the terrorist armed groups.
What terrorist armed groups? Who are they? Who are they? Name them.
Armed groups.
Who are they?
Yeah, those who have killed so far 500 officers and soldiers of our army, and police officers, and police soldiers, and security forces.
Okay, again, you haven't named who these unnamed, mysterious armed terrorists are.
They are the outcomes of the American-British invasion of Iraq, Anderson. They are the Salafists, they are the Takfiris groups, they are the Brother Muslim military wing. They are all these kind of extremist groups in the area. All of them spread all over the area after the American-British invasion of Iraq.
My name is Jalal. I'm from Homs. I will start. I don't say all full my name because the terrorists, they give me and my family target for them if they saw my face. I lose my brother. The terrorists and the armed group kill my brother because he opened the shops, and the terrorists, they race him for he closed the shop. They want the city like die. They don't anybody open the shop for you don't find the food, the water, the clothes, anything you want. That's why he have so many time order from the terrorists, close the shop, don't open. And 21 November, when he come back from shop to home, he catch him in Babsba and shot him from back.
An important example to help us understand what happened in Daraa was the story of turning Al-Umari Mosque into a focal point of protest. Al-Umari Mosque was a mosque used for prayers. Protest started from it as it started from other mosques around the city. But at some point, a rumor was spread, and this is we're speaking in the first week of protest. They said that if you take a wounded or an injured person who was injured during protests, or someone who has suffered suffocation from tear gas into hospitals, he would be arrested at those hospitals. At that time, when the rumor started spreading, we had less than 3 or 5 cases of people taken to hospitals over tear gas suffocation. None of them were obviously arrested or executed, as the rumor said. But this rumor led people to saying, let's start a field hospital in Al-Umari Mosque. So someone brought a gas tank, an oxygen tank, another person brought some fuel, and a third person brought some gas, and someone donated blood, a third person brought some medical supplies, and shortly they said, let's bring food supplies. And it wasn't long before people started saying, I have a pistol, I'll bring it here, and I have an AK-47 and I'm bringing it here to protect the mosque against any attack by the security or anyone.
دعني أقول لك بعض الحقائق.
أول حقيقة إني جاءني في المركز واحد من درعا أصابعه مقطعة والرصاص في جنبه. كلهم كانوا يقولوا نبغاكم تساعدونا بالسلاح، وهم جمعوا السلاح في تلك المترة في مسجد العمري مسجد العمري، وجمعوا سلاح، والشيخ حقهم الضرير رفض السلاح ورفض الدخول في قوة.
So this is an indication of what happened in Dar'a and other places around Syria, where rumors have led people to go in a certain direction, which let's just say that it wasn't the ideal direction for their movements on the ground.
Like the US, Al-Qaeda has endorsed the rebels fighting Syria. Under President Assad, Syria has been a secular state. Some analysts argue that one of the reasons why Al-Qaeda supports the violent uprising in Syria is that in a less secular environment, it's easier to recruit new terrorists.
My brother is not police. He's from public, Syrian, have job, have shops for clothes. So many times when we told him, please leave homes, like my family, he moved from homes to village. We told him, please move, it's very dangerous for him. They write in the wall about my name, my brother, in the wall in the street. Zafir, don't open the shop. Zafir, you support Bashar al-Assad. Zafir, so many times have this message to him. And he don't care, because he still opened the shop. He still opened the shop. And when he come back, I told you exactly, in 21 November, when he come back from shop to home, before about 40 meters to door to my home, some armed group shot him from the back. And this area, when he died, no policeman, just armed groups, just to resist.
My name is Mimi Al-Laham. I'm a Syrian activist and political analyst. These media have been used to advertise for new fighters. There's a story carried by Al Arabiya and Al Jazeera in June 2012 saying that Qatar and Saudi Arabia were going to pay the insurgents a salary for fighting. Now, they have been paid since the beginning. They have been paid since 2011 a salary. So why would these media pick up the story now? And that's because they needed new fighters, new recruits.
Please, come and see the real terrorists here. We have the rights to defend our land. We have a terrorist inside our country. We have the rights to defend it, to kill them and to arrest them. If it's happened in England, I know what the government in England will do. They will go by planes and bomb, 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 kill everyone in the street. They don't care about the human rights. My name is Mohamad Rafea. I'm a Syrian actor. I live in Syria, Palestinian origin. We have the rights to say what we want. We have the rights to go and protest as a protesters, to say what we want, but without guns, you know? Without guns, because I'm killing my brother in the army, I'm killing my brother in the police, you know? It's not right. It's not right at all.
At first, the story they went with is that there is peaceful protest being cracked down by a very strong state. The army was used according to them and the security was used. They didn't care to mention that up until May, early May, the army was not involved in dealing with the events in Syria, not even in cases where more than 15 security personnel were killed, like in the case of Dar'a in early days. In fact, no one mentions right now that the day when the army decided to enter Dar'a, soldiers in full armored, and they had body armor, they had on their they had armored vests, they had helmets, they had in their combat dresses. 17 soldiers were killed at the first day when they tried to enter Dar'a, which indicates a very strong attack on the army and a very heavy sniper attack. I personally saw an officer in the Syrian army, a colonel in the Syrian army. He received a shot which was fired more than 1,000 meters away, which indicate a high level of training. The reason I'm mentioning this because news outlets said, okay, there are peaceful protests and there are this very strong state which is cracking down on protests, and they were willing to ignore everything else.
هي مؤامرة كبيرة، ويعني اختلط الحابل بالنابل، وبلشت بالبداية مظاهرات سلمية عنا، وللأسف اجوا ناس من برا مخربين وصاروا يستغلوا هالمظاهرات السلمية ويقتلوا هالعالم، وشي بيحطوها بظهر الأمن وشي بيحطوها إنه يعني ما عاد فهمنا نحن شو اللي عم بيصير، والوضع مكركب يعني، ولازم تخلص القصة لأنه وقفوا شغلنا ووقفوا البلد ووقفوا حال البلد، ويعني عم ينزعوا علينا وعم ينزعوا على حالهم.
More pain when my brother died and I see why he died. What he do? He don't have gun. He's not policeman. He's not with the Syrian army. Just him problem because he want the peaceful. He support Bashar al-Assad. This excuse for he died. The terrorist freedom. If you are not with them, you die.
Had some people in Syria not been told that their government is killing civilians, is killing fellow Syrians, many of them would have not taken to the streets to protest against this government. Had the people of Syria not been told that their government is prosecuting fellow Syrians in other places, they would not have taken to the streets. Had the media not told people that the army is surrounding cities and bombarding these cities, many people would have stayed at their homes and supported their army. But because people are being told all these stories, and because the Syrian media has no credibility and has built no credibility with its viewers and its observers over the years, Syrians are now more inclined to believe other media channels, including Al Jazeera and Al Arabi and many other TV channels. So because in the absence of information, rumors prevail, and these channels are now spreading rumors and hearsay. They have nothing concrete.
تناقلت مواقع الإنترنت صوراً ومقاطع فيديو لما قيل إنه مقتل رامي علوش بالإعدام شنقاً من قبل الأمن السوري.
مقتل رامي علوش من أهالي حما مقتل رامي علوش من أهالي حما شنقاً.
وصورة رامي كانت حاضرة موجودة واضحة، وآثار الضرب والإعدام واضحة أيضاً على جسده، وهذا ما يرتقي فوق رتبة القرينة ليعتبر دليلاً دامغاً، ولا ينقض إلا بدليل دامغ آخر. فهل هناك دليل أقوى من صورة الشخص الميت نفسه؟ بعيد الشر عن قلبه. ليش بعيد الشر والزلمة توفى؟ يسأل مراقبون. لأن دليلاً مناقضاً ظهر يجيب آخرون. رامي علوش من مواليد حماه يدرس الطب البشري في روسيا، سمع بخبر وفاته مثله مثل غيره، ورأى مشاهد لجثته بعد أن قيل إن الأمن أعدمه، فصور نفسه في صور موثقة بأوراقه الشخصية، وصور مقطع فيديو موثقا بالتاريخ أيضا.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. اليوم الأحد مصادف 18/12/2011. أنا الطالب رامي علوش من أهالي حما، أدرس في روسيا. من فترة شفت مقطع على الفيسبوك وعلى الجزيرة وعلى اليوتيوب بأني مقتول على يد قوات الأمن السوري، وأنا الحمد لله صحتي تمام وأنا عايش وما في أي شيء، وهذا المقطع لا أدري كيف وصل لهم وكيف انتشر. والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
Some media outlets were involved in fabricating stories, or in making protests larger, or in providing images that were not from Syria and published as Syria.
Denny, Syrian state television, as you know, is now airing excerpts of this video of you that was shot. I'm not sure how they got this video. Do you know how they got it? Did they intercept it?
While I was trying to talk to CNN, I was online for like 20 minutes, so it's live broadcast. I don't know how they got it. This is all private. See, we should have. This has all been deleted. We have to delete all this stuff. Right. This is all private. See, we should have. This has all been deleted. We have to delete all this stuff.
Right. I want to ask you some specifics. They say the truth of Danny the Zionist. That's the title of this, and it's obviously heavily edited.
It's live broadcast.
They say at one point, and I'm going to show this, they say that you were saying, get the target ready to shoot. Right. No, shoot it like I'm telling you. Let's take a look. The sound of the bang there was the sound of you guys faking a shot.
That was sounded a long way ago. Even at the time, the area I was sitting in wasn't even being hit. They were hitting another area, as I told you, it was called Khaldi. It's about 15 kilometers away from...
An hour ago, I just went on a rooftop to get civilians. The street is right next to me, like 400 meters right over there. I went and picked up 4 civilians who were burning in their house. A mortar bomb came right on the rooftop of a civilian house.
Even at the time, the area I was sitting in wasn't even being hit. They were hitting another area, as I told you, it was called Khaldi. It's about 15 kilometers away from...
About Al Jazeera, which is a fake channel, and I hate, you know, the fake channels, and Arabiya, BBC, everyone, but I mean, first of all, Al Jazeera. Al Jazeera is like a room, you know, they control the protesters. Like, if you are in Babtuma, you're sitting in Babtuma, you're watching Al Jazeera, you hear, you see in the Jazeera news saying there is a big bomb in Babtuma and you know 10 people are dying, you know. After 10 minutes you will find the bomb in Babtuma explosive after they read the news in Jazeera, which means they are giving orders to the people, terrorist people here, to do what they want, you know. Even in the internet website of Jazeera you can see that someone, before the explosion of Maidan, someone says tomorrow is going to be a real good thing for the Syrian government inside Damascus, so we will feel happy. Next day, boom, the explosion.
You know, someone I know has told me recently that Jazeera did like the greatest plot ever. They started creating credibility over the 16 years they have worked in media, and I was a person who would be easily found defending Al Jazeera against people who were criticizing it, saying that it's a free channel, it's a channel that has given so much to Arab journalism. But I don't know if it was part of the plan why it's established or not, but what I know very well that Jazeera played a very destructive role and a very active role, active in a very negative way in the events in Syria. They have instigated people to do more killing, they have instigated people to lose faith in their government, they have instigated people to commit acts of sectarian violence. Not to say that the Syrian government is a saint or they are completely pure and they have done no mistakes, but the mistakes that the government committed here are no different than the mistakes committed by any government around the world, whether in England, where suppressing the recent events in London, whether in France, when they dealt with the revolt of the immigrants. All governments around the world commit mistakes and they do bad things. But I think Al Jazeera took things blown out of proportion, out of context, which is the main factor here, taking things out of context and represented facts in a very misleading way.
Welcome to Al Jazeera.
It's November the 15th, day one of a new era in television news.
I'm Shuli Ghosh.
And I'm Sami Zaidan. This is Al Jazeera.
تناديه بأقرب الكلمات إلى الروح، لكن الولد المصلوب لا يجيب. اسمه ساري وجسده الغض كما الصليب المتدلي من عنق أمه، ينفيان عنه بالقطع تهمة رسمية معلبة، طالما قال أصحابها إن القتلى الذين يتساقطون برصاص الجند في طول البلاد وعرضها هم أعضاء عصابات إرهابية مسلحة أو مندسون سلفيون.
عم بجر غسيل قاعد حدي قال لي بدي اكل. قلت له كل من البراد. قال لي لك الحاره ما فيها شيء اليوم، لك العالم بالطريق معبايه. قال الله يا عمي بدي بسكوتي. قلت قد ما انا قال جار تنزلي، انا بشتري لابني وبشتري لابني. نزلنا قام قال لي اشتري لي وقيت لحمه. قلت له يا عمي عمل انا جاي خالك بجيب لك لحمه. قال لي على الطريق ما شفت الا رصاص بلش بالحاره. جارتي تقوست برقبتها وباجرها وما بعرف ماتت يمكن وابني واربع شباب عده وويلي اسعف ابني والجيران والشباب وصارت ما بعرف رصاص. هي الحريه ابني معه بسكوتي ما معه بارودي. ابني حمود تحسني.
يا بعد تدير العربيه انه قال الجيش قتله يعني.
ما في جيش وما كان في امن. لو الجيش موجود ابني ما مات. لو الجيش موجود ابني ما مات. طبعا الجيش. الله يحمي الجيش. الله يحمي الجيش وقائد الجيش.
They've also employed false flag fabrications. You have the Hula massacre, in which they actually killed 200 children and claimed that the Syrian army was behind it, when it was revealed that these kids were not wounded due to shelling but due to stab wounds. Later they claimed that it was pro-government militia, Shabiha forces, that killed them. However, it came out in a German newspaper, in fact, by the author Rainer Hermann from Frankfurter Allgemeine Zeitung, that in fact the people that were killed were pro-government. You know, one of them was in fact part of the newly elected Syrian parliament.
Then the members of the Security Council also condemned the killing of civilians by shooting at close range and by severe physical abuse. Most of the killings that took place in Al-Hula are due to this kind of assassination, killing at close range, not killed due to the artillery shellings, because artillery shellings would not leave the bodies of the victims the way you saw them. Here we are talking about the Algerian killing styles in the early 90s.
It's clear that this was set up to try to discredit the Syrian military and to try to get the populations both inside the Middle East and outside the Middle East on board to some sort of Western intervention.
And for my family, more pain for us. When the media speak about our army, when they protect us, when we want from our army protect us and defend us from these terrorists, the media and European media and America, they speak about these terrorists, they protect the terrorists. They protect and they speak like our problem with the president, our problem with the freedom. We have freedom, and we die for our freedom. This is our problem.
De derrocar gobiernos porque no les gusta a alguien, pues así pasó con Libia. Por supuesto que nosotros reconocemos al gobierno sirio. ¿Y a quién quieres que reconozcamos? A los terroristas esos que están matando gente, tomando ciudades, lanzando bombas. Y es triste saber, leer y tener evidencia de que hay gobiernos europeos que reconocen a los terroristas, chicos. Qué cosa, ¿no? Que reconocen a los terroristas y se reúnen con los terroristas y les financian y les envían dinero y armas. Qué cosa, ¿vale? Por eso digo yo, ojalá los pueblos de Europa sigan despertando y se den cuenta de la realidad y le exijan a sus gobiernos el respeto a la paz internacional el respeto a los derechos humanos, el respeto a la soberanía de las naciones, Ramón, eso es sagrado. Y cuando digo Europa también digo Estados Unidos. Ojalá los pueblos del norte despierten.
I would have a very clear message for President Assad, which is it is time for him to go. It is time for transition in this regime. Clearly, Britain doesn't support violence.
These were the last moments of Ian Tomlinson's life as he walked home on April the 1st, 2009. PC Simon Harwood was caught on mobile footage hitting him with a baton. Minutes later, he was dead. Yet, on Thursday, PC Harwood was cleared of the killing.
And I don't think any regime that carries out acts as they have against their own citizens, and continue to do so, by the way, should survive.
They marched through London this afternoon to the chants of no justice, no peace. On their posters, the question, who killed Smiley Culture? The police say he did, that the reggae musician from London plunged a knife into his own chest a month ago. But it's a statement which many here asserted beggars belief.
If you said to us that he accidentally fell on the knife, we might have swallowed that. But to tell us that he killed himself, he stabbed himself, don't insult our intelligence.
What more evidence do we need about a regime that has brutalised its own people?
It is 11 months since Mark Duggan's death, and his family are still waiting for answers. Why was he shot dead by armed police?
I'm really surprised at the way they have taken my grandson from me as if he was an animal.
It's very indicative and informative to hear the Prime Minister of England describing the riots and the rioters in England as by using the term gangs, while they don't allow us to use the same term for the armed groups and the terrorist groups in my country. This is hypocrisy. This is arrogance.
شفتوا الانتفاضة الشعبية اللي قاموا بها الفقراء في لندن بالأمس.
You saw the popular uprising carried out by the poor of London.
التي أدت إلى احتراق نصف لندن بالإضافة إلى أكثر من مدينتين في بريطانيا الآن. وشفتوا ماذا تكلم رئيس وزراء بريطانيا كاميرون وقال أن احنا ب 25,000 عسكري حيقمع هذه التظاهرة وهذه المظاهرة التي تطالب بالعيش والكرامة.
And you all heard Mr. Cameron saying that he will oppress this popular uprising with 25,000 police officers.
وعليه هذه هي الديمقراطية الذين ينادون به.
So this is the democracy they call for.
إذا كان فعلا هذه الديمقراطية اللي ينادي بها فعليه أن يرحل هو من بريطانيا ويتنحى فورا ويستقيل ويخلي الشعب الإنجليزي يقول كلمته.
The behavior of Assad is absolutely unacceptable. You know, he has lost any legitimacy to lead.
Officers fire what appear to be beanbags and unleash a canine into a crowd of women and children.
What we've seen on the part of the Syrian regime has been an unacceptable degree of brutality directed at its people, an unacceptable degree of brutality directed at its people.
The transition to democracy in Syria has begun, and it's time for Assad to get out of the way.
I want to tell something about the West. They're calling for our democracy and our freedom. People are killing in Gaza long time ago, and then killing in Palestine long time ago. They're killing in Somalia, they're killing in Afghanistan, they killed in Libya, they killed everywhere. No one, I never heard any one of them, he comes and say, yeah, I'm with the human rights, let's stop this, you know? Now they care about the Syrian people. No, it's really bad conspiracy, because I told you, they want to kill us because we are defeating our country, and we are the last chance for the Arabs, you know, for the Arabs. I mean leaders. Arab leaders, because they're all betraying us, all of them. Do you think there is a revolution here? No.
هل تظن انه الدكتور بشار الاسد رئيس الجمهورية العربية السورية هو رجل ديكتاتوري؟
طبعا لا.
جيدا.
انا لا اظن انه الدكتور بشار، السيد الرئيس الدكتور بشار انه دكتاتوري. بالعكس هو كتير انسان محاور، وشفناه كتير بالحارات الشعبية عنا، كان يجي لعنا كتير على المطاعم، وشفناه كتير بحالات يعني منا وفينا.
When the Arab Spring came to Damascus, the protests were peaceful and defiant. The demands were clear. People wanted to topple the regime.
If we're speaking now about how popular the protest movement is, I think this is a problem, because we don't know. We don't have an accurate method to measure things. But what I know for a fact that when the president or president loyalists or government supporters go down to the streets, they can rally up to 3 million in 5 or 6 squares around Syria. There are protests in Syria, and they have popular support. But I think government supporters are still the majority by far.
We want Bashar al-Assad! We want Bashar al-Assad! We want Bashar al-Assad!
Esa élite europea, élite política, económica, que parece no lograr todavía, a pesar de los años que han transcurrido, desprenderse de la idea imperial. Se creen superiores a nosotros, pues. Se creen con derechos divinos, incluso, ¿será? De imponerle gobiernos a los pueblos árabes, a los pueblos africanos, a los pueblos latinoamericanos. ¿Qué cosa es esa? Oye, ¿cuántos problemas tiene Francia ahorita? ¿Cómo está el desempleo en Francia ahorita, Ramón? ¿Tú tienes datos de eso? ¿Qué te dicen la fuente de AFP? El desempleo, las empresas quebrando, los bancos saqueando a los pueblos.
Israel, it is not our real enemy.
We take help from anyone. Israel, we don't care.
Well, last year we went to the Palestinian border. Palestinian people, Syrian people, some of Arab people. They went to the Palestinian border on Konaitra, to the Konaitra. It's which means it's 1 hour, 1 hour and a half far from here. It was Nakba Day, which is the day for Palestinian people is very important day to remember it. We were protesters on the border, so the Israeli people was soldiers. I mean, they start to shoot us and throw gas bombs on us, and then they start to shoot us with real bullets. And I had my cousin. He died because of this in front of my eyes. I couldn't do anything. I was only throwing stones.
You know, since 1948, since the so-called formation of the State of Israel, or the Zionist entity as some people call it, in every war between the Arabs and Israel, Syria was involved. In every time that Israel tried to attack an Arab country or tried to attack Arabs in general, Syria was involved.
I feel bad about this because, you know, Syria is the last Arab country who is against Israel and United States.
In 1948, battalions from the Syrian army moved into Palestine and took part in the Salvation War, as the Arab historians call it. In 1956, when Israel attacked Egypt along with France and Britain, Syrian officers were there, and the first suicide attacker or istishhadi attacker was Joel Jamal, a Christian from Latakia city. He attacked Jeanne d'Arc, the French war vessel, with his torpedo boat. In 1967, Syria was attacked by Israel in the June War. In 1973, obviously, Syria was the main partner in, or was the side that launched war against Israel. in 1982 in the invasion of Lebanon. Syrian troops were on Lebanese territories, and they contributed in fighting Israel, and we lost many soldiers in Lebanon, more than 3,000 at least in the Israeli invasion, and 10,000 in safeguarding Lebanon in general. And if we proceed to say like in every major war, Syria was involved. Even in 2006, Syria was a close supporter to the resistance in Lebanon, in terms of accepting refugees, Lebanese refugees in Syria, and in terms, according to some intelligence sources and some journalists, of supporting the resistance, whether in arms or in technology or in resources, in able to carry on fighting the war against Israel.
Nosotros estamos, yo creo que muy lejos de aquella situación que se vivió en Nicaragua. En primer lugar, era solo la revolución cubana la que apoyaba a Nicaragua, ningún otro país. Casi todos los países de América Latina, cuando no apoyaban abiertamente la agresión contra los sandinistas, contra el pueblo de Nicaragua, callaban. Y por omisión apoyaban. La Venezuela de hoy no es la Nicaragua de entonces. La América Latina de hoy no es la América Latina de entonces.
But the problem that the Arabs people and Arabs leaders are fighting me to serve Israel. I'm like a brother to them, you know. I don't know why they are fighting me as a Syrian. We are like brothers. We must fight Israel together because Israel came and took our land.
لم يثني كبر سن هذه المرأة العجوز في مساعدة أبناء حيها باصطياد هذا الإرهابي المسلح الجبان المتخفي وراء زي النسائي خلال محاولته إبعاد الشبهات عنه وتضليل حماة الديار في أثناء تطهير منطقة يلدا بريف دمشق من فلول الإرهابيين المرتزقة بعد ارتكابهم أعمال قتل ونهب وسرقة بحق أهالي المنطقة.
احنا بابا احنا بابا الله يبارك لكم الله يتم بلادكم الله يلم نسوانكم لا جاي 64 سنة
لا جزيرة ولا عربية
لا جزيرة ولا عربية
سوريا الدنيا الإخبارية
سوريا الدنيا الإخبارية Fuck you جزيرة Fuck you جزيرة Fuck you BBC Fuck you BBC
Must the people, European people, speak with the media? They are liars.
I don't believe so much in conspiracy theories, but what I firmly believe is that many leading media channels around the world have started telling the story of Syria in a certain way, and after a while they can't go back because everything they said before sounds ridiculous.
You know, if the media speak the truth, we stop each problem here. If you speak truth, believe me, you know, the terrorists, why they didn't stop? Because the media protected them. They say, you are right, kill, we want blood in Syria. Did the media, what they do, the media, if they speak truth, we finish everything. We come back like before. We come back the same.
I want to send a message for BBC, Al Arabiya, CNN, Al Jazeera, and the whole media companies and TV stations and newspaper, whatever. Just please, please, please have conscience. Work in the conscience. Be a human being. Your work is really a sensitive work.
يعني أنا بدي أوجه لهم رسالة للقنوات إنه يا أما ينقلوا لنا الصورة الصح اللي عم بصير عنا مزبوط، يا أما يحلوا عنا، يتركونا بحالنا ويتركونا نشوف شغلنا.
I would love to say to the all Syrian people, live together like before, love each other like before, and our problems we can figure out how we make a solutions for our problems. Don't let anyone from abroad to come and control us and to tell us what we have to do. We know how to organize our things, and we know how to find the solutions of our problems, and that's better. We still Syrians, we still love each other. We're brothers anyway. In one country, we still live in one country.
What I would like to see from my country is that it maintain its rightful place as the independent, staunch enemy of the imperialist vultures, the US, Israel, and their puppets, NATO and the GCC countries. And may Syria defeat all her enemies and be the nation that stops the imperialist plans in their tracks.
Fabricando la disidencia es un documental póstumamente dedicado al actor sirio-palestino Mohamad Rafea, quien fue secuestrado, torturado y finalmente asesinado brutalmente el domingo 4 de noviembre de 2012 por grupos terroristas. Estos han sido soltados en el país desde que los Estados Unidos, el Reino Unido y sus aliados occidentales, junto a los estados del Golfo, pusieron en marcha una guerra encubierta contra Siria a principios de 2011, disfrazada en los medios de comunicación como una revolución. Las palabras de Rafea en este vídeo y el valor que muestra aquí es por lo que fue asesinado. Fabricando la disidencia es un documental que descifra implacablemente la guerra psicológica librada por los medios, el establishment político occidental y sus aliados con el fin de facilitar la agenda actual de los Estados Unidos, Europa e Israel para deshacerse del gobierno sirio. Muestra cómo los medios de comunicación han contribuido directamente al derramamiento de sangre en Siria. El documental desmonta las principales denuncias que estos actores presentan, a saber que el gobierno sirio sistemáticamente reprime las manifestaciones pacíficas y por lo tanto que ha perdido su legitimidad. Muestra cómo estas alegaciones son apoyadas con pruebas inexistentes, como los casos de Jula y Daraya acaban de demostrar nuevamente. Por lo tanto, no se trata de información, sino de propaganda en favor de los intereses de la política exterior de sus países.
Big problem for us, the media. You know, if the media speak the truth, we stop each problem here. If you speak the truth.
We are gathering in London today in Trafalgar Square and some 21 countries around the world, from Morocco to Nepal, showing our solidarity with peaceful protesters in the Middle East and North Africa. You know, we've got the names of some 300 people who have been killed in recent days since the Security Council veto.
Syria is a tragedy of the most painful sort. It's heartbreaking to watch those incredibly brave people of Homs, Bab al-Mar, to stand up to withstand such a brutal onslaught from their own government.
It is time for that regime to move on, and it is time to stop the killing of Syrian citizens by their own government.
There has been an intense military campaign by the government against protesters in the city, with dozens killed, shops and homes vandalized, and mass arrests made.
On Syria, we condemn the violence against peaceful protesters,
Fabricando la disidencia proporciona evidencias de informes falsos distribuidos o publicados por medios como CNN, BBC, Al Jazeera y otros, en base a entrevistas con una muestra bien definida de la población siria. Desde el actor al artesano, pasando por el periodista o el residente de Homs, todos afectados por la crisis.
Do you think there is a revolution here? No.
Had there been no media campaign against Syria, things would have probably ended in April.
You're coming back to the same issue.
Soldiers were killed.
You're coming back to the same issue. First of
because
all,
they
with all due
refused.
respect, no.
Because they refused to take orders to kill the people. My own cousin was killed. He's a strong supporter of the government. He's a strong supportor of the government. He was a lieutenant in the army and he was killed. He was sent to our village. You know how he was sent to our village? You know how he was sent to our village? He was decapitated. He was decapitated.
My name is Ala Ibrahim. I am a reporter and a freelance journalist. I've been to Dar'a during the last events that took place in Syria, since I've been to Dar'a for the better part of April and May. I went to places like Ma'arat al-Nu'man when a security checkpoint and a security headquarters was attacked there, and I went to Homs also to cover events there. There are many questions unanswered till this day about Dar'a, which was the place that started the whole crisis in Syria. Up till today, the 4 people who were killed in the first protest in Dar'a, I've interviewed protesters who were along with them, and I've interviewed security officers and policemen who were at the scene. Actually, stories don't always match each other, but something that all the people I have interviewed have agreed upon, that they don't know who shot at the protesters who were killed the first day. Protesters have told me that the shooting took place from a high place over a water tank in the city, and they couldn't identify the people who were shooting.
The government is not running against the civilians. These civilians are our own people. We are there to protect them.
But the government is killing them.
is running against the terrorist armed groups.
What terrorist armed groups? Who are they? Who are they? Name them.
Armed groups.
Who are they?
Yeah, those who have killed so far 500 officers and soldiers of our army, and police officers, and police soldiers, and security forces.
Okay, again, you haven't named who these unnamed, mysterious armed terrorists are.
They are the outcomes of the American-British invasion of Iraq, Anderson. They are the Salafists, they are the Takfiris groups, they are the Brother Muslim military wing. They are all these kind of extremist groups in the area. All of them spread all over the area after the American-British invasion of Iraq.
My name is Jalal. I'm from Homs. I will start. I don't say all full my name because the terrorists, they give me and my family target for them if they saw my face. I lose my brother. The terrorists and the armed group kill my brother because he opened the shops, and the terrorists, they press him for he closed the shop. They want the city like die. They don't anybody open the shop for you don't find the food, the water, the clothes, anything you want. That's why he have so many time order from the tourists, close the shop, don't open. And 21 November, when he come back from shop to home, he catch him